Welcome back to Yoshi Entertainment, everybody. So just recently, Iyanla Vanzant and Eboni K. Williams had an interview together. Some things were said, and I feel like a lot of people took some of those things out of context. And I really hate these conversations that they have because it just causes more problems between black women and black men and the, gender war that they've got going on all over social media. It just creates a further divide, if you ask me. And I feel like these conversations that we're having, the context of them, we should not still be having. So Miss Van Zant asked Eboni Williams, would she date a bus driver? And I guess, the center of all of these questions was, I guess, her trying to prove the point that specifically black women, that their standards are too high, that they're asking for too much, that they're requiring too much out of their partners who they want to be in a relationship with. Now, she asked this woman who has a lot under her belt. She has a lot of accomplishments under her belt. Would she date a bus driver? And this was asked after they had talked about some stuff, and she had mentioned that, and she didn't single any group of men out. She said all men. So I don't know where people are coming from with this, with some of these crazy ideas, but she didn't single any demographic of men out. She said all men, where it seems like sometimes they're not quite meeting her, I guess, at where she is, at her standards. And like I said, she asked her, would you date somebody who was a bus driver? And she said if he owned the bus, meaning if he was like, an owner of the bus service, so to speak. And I really hate the way Miss Van Zant responded to what she said. She basically said, oh, that's the problem. Basically making it seem like any woman that wants, more out of life, wants to have a partner who has, a decent amount of money or is in a certain social class or has the same accomplishments that she does under her belt, that it's a problem. Like I said, I really hate that she said that because it makes black women specifically a really easy target to mock and disparage and throw stones at. It makes us seem like our standards are so high when they're not. It's not about having high standards. It's about not wanting to settle for mediocrity or laziness. And I feel like low-key, Miss Van Zant was trying to say, without saying, what y'all really need to do is just shut up and settle, because that's all you're going to get. If you're a black woman, you're dating black men, they don't live up to certain standards because they're lazy, and y'all might as well just marry them and deal with it. You're supposed to deal with it anyways because you're a black woman. Low-key, that's basically what she said. And both black women and black men should receive that as a slap in the face, because low-key, again, you can say I'm stretching, this is a stretch, but it's not. Low-key, what she really said is that black men are too mediocre and lazy to live up to certain standards, and that black women should accept those mediocre and lazy standards. It really infuriates me that, like I said, people were calling this woman all kinds of thises and that's because she said she didn't want to date a bus driver. First of all, like I said, this woman has all kinds of accomplishments under her belt. If I'm not mistaken, she has a net worth of $3 million. She's an attorney. What in the world would she be doing with a bus driver to begin with? They don't even move in the same social circles, the same class, and not even in the same tax bracket. So why would she even be involved with a bus driver to begin with, like I said? And let's also talk about the stuff that people love to forget about. Like, most men are not going to go for women who make more money than they do. And even if they do, it's always going to be a problem. There's this thing called the male ego. A lot of men do not care about the saying, my accomplishments are your accomplishments. My success is your success. What you make, what you bring in, what I make, what I bring in is ours together if we're both married. It's just the fact that she's making more money that's always going to clash with most men's egos. And like I said, there will always be a problem. There's a young man by the name of George Hines Jr. He wrote a book. I encourage you to look up this book, purchase it, read it. I encourage you to go to his Instagram account. He made a statement in one of his Instagram live videos that I thought was very impactful and meaningful, that unfortunately I don't believe a lot of people in the black community specifically have the intelligence or the emotional maturity to grasp and tap into. He said that men should get with women who have a financial vision that is the same amount of money that they make or less. And when they go trying to get women who want more money than what they make, it's going to always be a problem. If they're involved with a woman who makes more money than they make, it's going to be a problem. People only want to think about money, but they don't think about the problems and the issues that come after that. And another thing people love to forget, like I said, this entire conversation and when she said that, like I said, it was a slap in the face to black women and black men. And again, it made us a very easy target to be talked about. But see, the funny thing is, had that been a black man and they asked him, would you have dated some woman that worked at the McDonald's and he had all the accomplishments under his belt that Eboni had? He would have said no. He would have said heck no. Let's not sit up here and act like he would have said yes, because we all know he would have said no. And we know this because we are constantly bombarded with the statement that I made in a previous video. What do you bring to the table? And we all know a lot of people mean that in the money aspect. Had that been a man that she asked that question, which we know that she would have never asked, he would have said, nah, what does she bring to the table? Meaning money-wise. We know this because they do it all the time now. Like I said, this post that you see on the screen right now reflects exactly how I feel about what she asked that woman on national television. I hate these stupid conversations because they don't do anything to help. Black people are the only people that are still having them. They're unintelligent, they're unhelpful. And the real root of the problem is not even getting acknowledged or addressed. If Eboni Williams is an attorney, if she allegedly is a business owner, if she has all kinds of education under her belt, like I said, and accomplishments, there is nothing wrong with that woman wanting somebody who has the same things going for them. Or is that only going to apply when it's not a woman? There's nothing wrong with her wanting somebody who's moving in the same social circles, who's making the same kind of money, who's in the same class as she is. Now, if she wanted to date somebody like a bus driver and things worked out, more power to her. But 9 times out of 10, people are going to want to move in the same circles and be with people who they're in the same circles with. And there's nothing wrong with that. But for some reason, when it comes to black women, we can't have high standards. We can't want more for ourselves. We can't go out and get educations and, like I said, get accomplishments and want the people who we date and marry to have those same accomplishments and education. No, instead we have people like Miss Vanzant, who's operating out of the old school mentality that women, black women specifically, should settle for less, should settle for mediocrity. And I'm not saying that if you don't make a lot of money, you're mediocre. However much money you make, you make. But like I said, if a woman is going out and making money for herself, a lot of money for herself, has a lot of accomplishments for herself, there is nothing wrong with her requiring that same, if not more, from the man, from the husband or the future husband, the guy who's supposed to be providing and protecting. There's nothing wrong with her requiring that or more from that man. But somehow we've gotten it all the way twisted. But I'm glad in this new generation, a lot of these black women are not settling for that. And she's one of them. She didn't care what anybody had to say about her. She stood 10 toes down in what she said. Despite even Miss Vanzant, who's helped a lot of people, clearly, but she didn't help anybody in this scenario. She actually made it worse. Another conversation and point that I feel like tags on or along to this little conversation is them loving to say that women don't want to help men build or they don't want to start from the bottom up with men. But see, it's funny because these same women that y'all are talking about, they have watched other women do this, do all of that, build and build up a man, which is not really her job. But they've watched women do this. And then those same men that they build up, turn around and stab them in the back, kick them to the curb, and then left them for other women. And men and women justified what they did. So why would you expect any of these women to want to do that when they know 9 times out of 10 what could happen to them, especially if they're a black woman? We see it all the time. People even brag about it. I've seen people brag about how a woman helped build them up and then they kicked her to the curb for another woman who would not even have given them a second glance. Were they not where they were after the woman who built them up got them up there? The conversation that I'm still waiting for, instead of bashing women, like I said, for having high standards and requiring partners who meet those high standards, the conversation we need to have is why it seems like it is being made okay for some of these people, some of these men, to have mediocre standards. What is wrong with them that they cannot measure up? And I'm not always talking about how much money you're making, because people love to say, well, I don't make enough money. But again, if a woman, the quote weaker vessel out of the two, can go out and make decent money or good money, what in the world is everybody else doing? That's the conversation that I'm still waiting to have happen. Why do y'all feel like y'all have to control women and how they think and make them think less of themselves so that they will settle for less for people who won't even put in the effort to meet them where they are? That's the conversation I'm still waiting to have happen. But anyways, y'all let me know what y'all think and how y'all feel down in the comments below. If I offended somebody, I really don't care. Talk to Jesus about it. Y'all have a blessed day.